Forced to work from home by your employer? Laid off or feeling depressed at home? Do you want to make money working from anywhere? We'll show you how to do it from your couch. It's time for another episode of the Work From Home Show. Coming to you from their homes in Austin, Texas and Tampa, Florida, here are your hosts, Adam and Naresh.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Work From Home Show. Shout out to our homies, homeboys, homegirls, home trans, all the work from homers out there. I'm Naresh Vissa with Adam Schrader. Today we have Mr. Will Mercer on the show. He is the co-founder and CEO of Umaya Village. It's the first remote work village built for work from homers. It is awesome. Just Google Umaya Village or visit the website umayavillage.com. Check out its Facebook page. Look at the pictures, look at the videos. It is a truly innovative concept that brings work from homers from all around the world to one location to work, party, to eat, to sleep, to do all sorts of things. Will Mercer, welcome to the Work From Home Show.
Thanks very much. Great to be here.
Well, let's start with your background because you don't, first off, Umaya Village is based in Belize. You seem like you're not from the United States. So tell us where you're from, how you got involved with mixed use development, real estate development, what took you to Belize, and why did you take a particular liking towards the work from home market?
So as you could probably tell from my accent, I am from London originally. And my background's kind of been very mixed, but predominantly in the social impact space and community-centric business models. After a long stint in finance, I kind of transitioned out and became head of strategy and a COO of a multi-site workspace business in London. And it was the first time that I'd actually seen what happens when you have people from different backgrounds in one place. Maybe not aligned by a profession, but aligned with a common interest in either personal, professional, or commercial growth. And this was a remarkable experience. It was also the first time I saw the power of tech community and how technology was disrupting the ways that people were working. Seeing tech companies with teams all over the world, staying connected, getting the best out of their staff. So completely besotten by the idea of lots of people from a different background in one place doing cool things. I left that business, I think, in early 2017 and moved to a chateau estate in Burgundy that was the size of Monaco in terms of land area. And the idea was that this chateau building had been abandoned for 40 years, although there were some elements on the chateau that were usable. And we had this whole idea of bringing people out there to the true to work from home form as Slack popping up. Bringing people from all over Europe to this chateau estate with the idea of building community around the project, and then a vested interest in using this chateau estate to bring a community together and help them discover new things. And at the time, we came across a couple of people traveling through from companies like Remote Year, and this is still very nascent in the sort of widely accepted, remote work paradigm that has been turbocharged by the pandemic. But for various reasons, namely the sheer cost of refurbishment, the number of the amount of capital being needed, the business regulatory climate in France, it became very economically challenging to continue the project without it being, a labour of love for the rest of my life. And so very sadly, we decided that it was best to sort of package everything up as a success story and look for new projects. And so then I sort of went from that to helping governments and cities create startup communities. I advised the US Aid Department on their entrepreneur policy in Ukraine and Eastern Europe. How do you make communities of entrepreneurs out there? I advised the European Commission on how to strengthen the creative hubs that people were creating across Europe and beyond. And then eventually I took a job in venture capital. Again, this idea about working with entrepreneurs, and again looking at technology that was disrupting the working week, the way that we work. So by the time the pandemic hit, I was really hungry to jump back into the co-living project. I was really aware of just how rapidly technology was being adopted in particularly early stage businesses, and how distributed teams were actually yielding exceptional results. And when the pandemic hit, we knew that every single hotel in the world was pretty much empty. And then at the same time, attitudes to remote working had changed irreversibly forever. And so that made the perfect climate with which to have another crack at this. And Belize in particular, so I began a journey of looking for hotels to partner with. And a friend of mine who's a very talented event producer, promoter, and marketer, he has a marketing agency in London, was working with another friend of his on real estate developments in Belize. And Belize has a pretty buoyant and growing real estate market. And one of the developers they were working with had an empty resort. At the time, it'd been closed during COVID. And so he was looking to open it back up. But tourism at the time was at 5% of its 2019 levels. And so we sort of just said to him, look, if you let us jump on board and create some remote workspace here, we will get people here. And it very much came together, and it's been a roaring success ever since.
So how many people, I mean, this place looks like a resort and not a place you go to work, honestly. Like, how many people can you host at one time? Like, without COVID-19, like with COVID and without COVID restrictions that are going on right now, like how many people can actually be there, and kind of what all is there to do? Because like I said, it looks like just a place where people go to party based on your website in a lot of ways.
I think, when your co-founder is very good at creating music events across the planet, maybe there's a natural propensity to display the environment like that. But no, there people do have a lot of fun here. So the resort itself is 62 bedroom condos, so 120 bedrooms in total. But since we've been here, it's been closed for a year. There's been sort of needs to refurbish elements of it. So up until now, we've been using about 30 of the 60 condos. So I've been hosting group sizes of up to, I think the most we've had on site is about 60, 65 so far. And then gradually, bit by bit, the resort is refurbishing the remaining condos and sort of restoring the resort. So it's actually very beautiful, but sort of just, getting it back up to its pre-pandemic shine.
Well, Adam brings up a good point, and I think demographics are very important. When I saw how I found you, I think it was on Instagram or Facebook, a video just popped up and I watched it and I was like, this place is awesome, especially if you're single and you work remotely. It seems like the single person paradise. And I texted the video to a few of my single family members and friends. Can you tell us a bit about the demographics of the people who are coming here? I'm assuming they're signing 1-year leases. And can you give like maybe the average age, what countries they're coming from, their background? Are there married people coming, boyfriend, girlfriend? Just give us more information on the type of person you're looking to attract. All very good points. So for a start, this is more long stay travel. So we have a minimum stay of 3 weeks, and then people can renew on a rolling basis. So the easiest way to describe it is that sort of intermittent period between, short stay, tourism and, long stay leases, etc. When looking at the sort of people who come here, if you look at the problems facing remote work outside of, say, your home, you kind of have 4 elements to consider. So one is time zone, and that's something you just can't really replace. And Belize is on central time in the summer and central time in the winter and mountain time in the summer. Second thing is internet, and Belize's internet network is actually pretty strong, and we've got sort of 2 fiber connections to the resort. So reliable internet is a big thing. Having been that digital nomad
on the back of a moped, holding this phone up to the sky to try and get enough signal to try and take a call for a really important meeting. I've been there too many times to not want to make sure that the internet's reliable. And then, so the two soft layers are around professional development. When you leave a city, you lose that ability to network professionally, and we sort of solve that problem by having many professionals. And then the final is, as you mentioned, sort of single travelers, but just anyone who wants to travel and meet new people. And in the classic offering of most tourism is come here and be alone. You have youth hostels where it's come here and connect. But there isn't really anything for sort of mid-level or mid-career professionals looking to have a community-based holiday experience, other than some brilliant offerings out there. So what that means in terms of demographics is a very mixed, super interesting group of inspirational people. So I think the oldest person that we've had here actually just left today, and I believe he was 70. And the youngest person's been 21. I think we're about 66% female so far to date, although that has changed. Generally, age range, I would say.
Our listeners are signing up right now.
Yeah. Oh man, there was not that we. Not that we we market ourselves that way, but there was one point where it was like I was calling up all my guy mates being like, guys, I need you to come out here. I need you to come out here and balance it out a bit. So yeah, that's been something. And but to be honest, I think we are seeing more of a balance. So it is getting up more to a 50-50 at the moment. But no, yeah, so 25 to sort of 40 are generally the age ranges. Generally we skew probably, the mode is probably your sort of 28 to 30-year-old tech worker. Although we've had all sorts of backgrounds, music, fashion, art, media, a surprisingly large number of remote therapists. That's been quite interesting. We've got a doctor in philosophy who is a fellow at Harvard and a researcher at Oxford University here at the moment. So we've got like a really sort of mixed bag of people. So yeah, I think yeah. In short, there's no one demographic. Does change quite a lot, but generally, and with respect, lots of couples. If you want to have a travel experience with your loved one, then this is a good place to come, because you have an apartment that you can call your own, but at the same time you have a community with which you can engage, and we've been really blessed with some really amazing couples.
And how about the countries that these people are coming from? Is it all around the world, or is it heavily concentrated on U.S. college graduates, U.S. People based in the United States? How is that working out? And then tell us a little bit about the pandemic, and if that's helped your business, hurt your business, even with different variants coming through. How has that affected things?
Country-wise, it began with quite a mixed group as we were sort of reaching out to our networks. We have a lot, obviously, a strong European influence, but I would say 95% of our customers are from the US. The nature of Belize being English-speaking, its currency is US dollar pegged, direct flights from 11 US cities, just makes it exceptionally easy to get here from the US. In terms of targeting remote workers and tech work community, it's the cities that really work for us in terms of where people are from are your classic Bay Area, New York, Austin, Chicago, and the Midwest. So we do see quite a large number of people from your tech heavy, San Diego as well, actually from and LA from Southern California. So, where you would expect there to be a predominantly tech focus is where our people are coming from. And remind me of the second part of that question.
The pandemic, how has that affected people from coming? You said that from the United States, but how has a pandemic affected your business? Has it been very positive or negative, or just talk a little bit about the...
Yeah. So the pandemic has been, it gave birth to the business. So we are one of these businesses that have sprung up during the pandemic. So we opened our doors on the 1st of March following a soft launch period. But essentially, we would not exist had it not been for the pandemic. We opened up at a time where people were locked in their homes, were really struggling with sort of a stale environment. And I think we had a very positive boon from people coming here for the first time and actually meeting people they haven't met before. So I would say pandemic's been, 100% success rate and supportive and has really enabled us to form the community. As in regards to actually the impact on the business, so Belize has a sort of award-winning approach to its COVID travel management. Belize's economy, I think its GDP it's something ridiculously high. I think at one point it was 70%, although don't quote me on that. I need to do some research, but its dependence on tourism is very high. And as a result, they were one of the first countries to be very proactive at coming up with a really robust approach to COVID management. So Belize itself has had very low COVID rates, one of the lowest in the region, if not the lowest in the region. On top of that, everyone who comes to Belize must either be vaccinated or show a negative COVID test taken within 24 hours of flying. And then when they do arrive, if they haven't got that, they can get tested on arrival. And then when you come into the resort, the good thing about Belize versus anywhere else is that there's a lot of space. It's not a densely populated country. People don't generally congregate in urban centres. There's a curfew that's been in operation since we got here that has gone from 8 to 12 and back down to 9 and all over the place. But the curfew has been very much about limiting large social gatherings that will lead to outbreak without actually stopping social interaction entirely. So the experience has actually been quite very positive. We've had one COVID case since we got here, and the person who got it, we isolated straight away, and we enacted large amounts of testing, and that person actually was as soon as they came in was isolating anyway. So actually they never really interacted with the resort, and it came from outside of Belize, and they were able to quarantine. And it was actually not even a guest that we'd invited out here. It was from a friend of the owners. So in short, we've not had any problems with COVID. Even when there has been even a slight wobble, it's been very effectively managed. There is very little COVID activity in the whole of Belize. So it's been really quite positive, and our business as a whole has been is a product of the pandemic. And I think had the pandemic not hit, the opportunity to come out and do this probably wouldn't have arisen.
So you talk about building the community there. I mean, obviously it's a place you can go and sit on the beach and work and that kind of stuff. What are y'all doing to actually kind of foster that sense of community inside of the village itself?
That's a great question. I think that's probably the sort of special sauce. So in advance of a guest coming, this isn't I go to Expedia and I click book. You inquire through the website. We then have a call with you. We sort of get to know what you're up to, what you're looking for, what stage of life you're at, and then if it sounds like it's the right fit for you, and vice versa, you then book. When you book, you fill out a form that just talks about the values that we have as a community. Simple things like being respectful to the staff, engaging with other people on site, etc., and just some ground rules around how to be respectful. And then when you arrive on site, we greet you. We have a session where we talk about how things work here. We make sure that people have some sort of social interaction on their first night if they want, if they're not exhausted from traveling. So we really sort of act that we have our staff on site whose role it is really to be that first friend that you meet, to guide you through the point where you get to know everyone else here. So everyone who comes out here, because of their nature, they're well-travelled, they're highly social, even if they're not well traveled, they're ready to travel, ready to explore. So by the time they get here, they're already positively primed, both by our process and also by the very nature of wanting to come out here to meet new people and explore new things and discover new ideas, so that when they do get here, they're already primed and ready to go. And then we have a weekly event program where people get to meet, and the event program has sort of health and fitness, so yoga sessions. This morning we had a HIIT workout. We play volleyball regularly, and then we have weekly tours where we take the whole group out on a tour. This weekend we're going to some caves that were traditionally used for Mayan sacrifice, sort of really cool cave experience. And then the other element we do is around professional growth. So twice a week we'll have workshops where people share their skills and profession. And today we have a guy who designs websites for a living talking about the design thinking that goes into starting websites. Last week we had a philosopher talk about well-being and happiness and the importance of gratitude in achieving a state of well-being. So we have this sort of mix of adventure, of health and well-being, of personal and professional growth, and then finally, obviously, you've alluded that we are a bit social, and going to the local bar or playing a bit of music does happen from time to time.
I want to learn a little bit more about the village and what separates it from other villages. I've heard about villages, similar types of concepts in Medellin, Colombia, in Costa Rica, in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Have you visited these places, and how does Umaya compare to those and what they have to offer?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think sort of Umaya Village is really a brand with an intention around sort of creating a village-style community. So we're effectively using a resort as a pseudo hamlet, I guess, is its technical definition, given the number of apartments. But the important thing about Umaya is it's an integrated, complete community, right? So we have restaurant, bar, gym facilities, pool, beach, and whilst our guests do explore the local area and do go out, but the important thing is that on the actual site itself, it is very much a holistic community in that regards. Like, you will bump into other people who are working remotely. You will see them on a regular basis. With these other places, Medellin, Chiang Mai, like absolutely phenomenal places. But these are existing cities that are, due to quality of life, cost of living, local culture, have created a very welcoming environment and a very affordable environment for people to work remotely. And so I would say that other than the fact of size, scale, and offering, you would come to Umaya Village to join a community of remote workers and digital nomads, whereas you might go to Medellin to work remotely, but your primary objective would be to effectively live there. And in living there, obviously, you would maybe go to events or go to workspaces or go to accommodation that's aimed at remote workers and digital nomads. But your intention would be to go to the city first, and then when there, sort of connect with the community. Whereas we are sort of community first. You are coming here to work alongside some brilliant people in a beautiful location.
So what's your long-term vision for the village? Is it that you're going to keep it the same size but expand to other areas, maybe in Belize, maybe not? Are you wanting to kind of build it a little bit bigger? Kind of what's the long-term plan for the village?
A really great question. And for a relatively young business, we are still in that sort of, what is the big picture? At our core, we've had a phenomenal group of people come through, and so we'd be community first and foremost. So the goal would be to, where we are at the moment, we're operating within a resort environment, which is very much designed more for a tourist use. So I would say that the ultimate goal would be to build something that's far more functional and livable and scalable. one of the things about where we are is the whole of the area of Placencia is beautiful, but it's also one which is heavily being developed for tourism. So our ability to expand is somewhat limited. So I think the ultimate goal would be to transition this community, almost use this resort environment as a sort of a plant pot from which to then grow and seed a larger community in a place with ample room for growth. So I'd say that first and foremost. But I do agree with you that you don't want to. You mentioned about sort of keeping the community the same size and where it goes from there. I think for a community to really maintain its authenticity, it can't grow too quickly, because the relationships will then be more transient, and the sense of attachment to it would start to disassociate. So I think in the short term, very much stay here, get it to a really healthy community size. But in the longer term, we are looking for more properties that might be looking for income, or maybe larger scale resorts that might be interested in exploring digital nomads as a revenue stream, or real estate development opportunities that will allow us to create a tailored environment for our community. So I would say, if you know anyone who has an empty hotel or a real estate development that needs a group of really cool people to come along and turn it into a living, breathing community, get in touch.
That's Will Mercer, co-founder and CEO of Umaya Village, the first remote work village for work from homers. Will, it's been a true pleasure to have you on the Work From Home Show. The website is umayavillage.com. That's UMAYA village.com, umayavillage.com. Will, any final thoughts you want to share with our listeners, or anything else you'd like to promote?
I'd just say Instagram at Umaya_village. And I just want to say a big thank you to both of you for having me on the show.
Well, thank you, Will. It's been a truly immersive experience. I kind of want to check the place out. I'm definitely going to continue to tell my friends and single family members to go ahead and check it out for, like you said, 2-3 weeks. And I think it would be a truly amazing experience. Can you again, one last thing, can you just share how expensive it is to live there? Or not expensive, it could be cheap, but just the overall cost. What are the different costs associated with coming and staying there?
We have rooms all the way from sort of one room in a shared apartment all the way up to a penthouse overlooking the ocean. Our rooms on the one bedroom start at $55 per person per night, and scale up to I think the largest that we have is $163 a night, which is an apartment with quite a nice view.
Is there any type of, I guess, bulk pricing if someone says, hey, I want to come here for 6 months, or I want to sign a 1-year lease?
Yeah, we do that on a sort of case-by-case basis. The same goes for events. If you're a distributed team and you want to come here and organise an event or a workaway, we're very much geared to do that. But we do pricing on a case-by-case basis.
Well, Mercer, thank you so much for joining us. To all our listeners, check us out at workfromhomeshow.com. That's www.workfromhomeshow.com. Email us if you have any questions, or if you want to get in touch with Will, hello@workfromhomeshow.com. That's hello@workfromhomeshow.com. Like us on social media. We are everywhere. Leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you use. And until next week, keep on working from home.